Hello everyone and welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2015, a speedrunning marathon being held in support of the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Awesome Games Done Quick is a Games Done Quick event held every year in January featuring members of the Speed Demos Archive and Speedruns Live communities. SDA proudly hosts over 1,000 games with forums containing speedrunning planning and marathon discussions. SDA welcomes gamers old and new alike. You can follow them on Twitter at SDA Speedruns and visit their website at speeddemosarchive.com. We are also being joined by members of Speedruns Live. Speedruns Live is the best site to race video games online against other players of all skill levels. They are also hosting a short series of races starting January 17th titled Get Yourself Speedrunning. You can go to their front page, speedrunslive.com, for more information and to watch a variety of speedrun streams.
I don't know how to tighten this though. This is new.
Go ahead and plug some of our many sponsors for this event. We are being sponsored by Tiny Build Games. Tiny Build Games is an indie developer morphed into an indie publisher. They partner up with indies across the world to help better their games as well as develop games themselves. Check them out at tinybuild.com and check out their game Speedrunners, available in the AGDQ2015 Humble Bundle. And speaking of, check out the Awesome Games Done Quick bundle on humblebundle.com. Pay what you want for up to 9 games, a Twitch Turbo subscription, a subscription to XSplit Premium, and exclusive merchandise, all while supporting the Prevent Cancer Foundation.
Shout outs to I'm always on the mic saying things.
Like, are we actually on?
We are on.
Oh
like
my God.
I always say something and then I hear my voice echo and I'm like, that's not the thing I wanted to start with.
We've got a
At
few
least this
people.
one's empty now.
We've got a few people on the couch, so before you start your run, if we want to get a quick roll call for our audience.
Okay. I'm Galedog.
Perfegator.
Green Mean.
Draco down.
We have a
Good.
Countdown.
Countdown when you're ready.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so in Streets of Rage 2, basically, the routing is just capitalizing off of spawn points and killing guys as soon as they spawn. And for the parts that you can't do that, it's pure improv, which can get really random.
It's also max or bust.
Yeah, Max has really good mobility, so improvising with him is not as bad with the other characters. It's pretty terrible.
I mean, that dash attack's really good for getting the off-screen guys while still moving forward.
Yeah, basically you can pretty much just see when I'm killing guys as soon as they spawn, and other times you're just like chasing guys.
So Max has a ton of different strings that you can do depending on exactly how much health in the situation. So you'll see sometimes he'll use Thunder Tackle because it's a very efficient way to get it quickly. Other times it's more worth it to go for Max's stand in and then swing. And then there's these nice loops. The positioning to get back throws in this game can be pretty questionable sometimes, but by setting it up, a lot of his throws lead to themselves.
So there are two kinds of attacks. There's just like regular attack, which doesn't cost any health, and then there's kind of a special attack. Max has 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that forward dash. charge thing, and he's also got like a spin, like a lariat, and they cost health to do those moves. So
Well, I believe each character has one special attack that only costs health if it connects, and one that always costs a little bit of health.
oh, cool.
Yeah, like basically this is your defensive special and this is your offensive special. And Max and Blaze have the strongest defensive specials. Like you can actually kill these Garcias just with one defensive special, but if you were playing with Axel, it's a lot weaker, so that's another convenience of playing as Max. This boss tries to block your hits a lot, so for whatever reason, if he blocks Max's Thunder Tackle, it glitches and does a bunch of damage,
It's so sick.
Yeah.
and it can kill him in like 1 or 2 knockdowns usually.
Yeah, and basically what's going on is that the boss can block the special,
Yeah,
but bosses take a small amount of damage anyway when they do that.
right, except Shiva. He's the only boss that when he blocks, he takes 0 damage.
And I think with the thing that happened in the fight there, everyone who's played this game even casually knows that getting stuck between 2 different enemies is hell.
Here, I usually try to kill 2 guys before I get past these oil drums, because if I don't, this biker will spawn late, and it can waste a lot of time, and then sometimes he just doesn't spawn at all. I'm not exactly sure what causes him to spawn or not spawn, but usually the less stuff there is on screen, including enemies, the more likely he is to spawn right away. Like right now, there's supposed to be another blue biker spawning on the top, but he's like not there because there's so many enemies and a pipe on screen. So the game just fails to load things.
Just want to give a quick update. Right now we are sitting at around $850 to get VVV added to the schedule. We've got, we need to get to 3,000, and we have 3 games after Streets of Rage is done before we have to cut that off. So if you guys want to see that, you need to get donating now.
Okay, you can Thunder Tackle out of the truck at like the last frame and cause Max to go so far right that it ends the scene transition early, but I did it too early there, so I didn't get it.
Basically, no matter where you are when that ends, Max will just walk to the right, so that's pretty much the
Yeah.
fastest way to do it.
Max's walking speed is not exactly up to par.
It's all about them slides.
Yeah. Both the fastest and slowest character in the game.
Yeah. I'm waiting to be impressed because I think for many people, the strat here is just getting jump kicks.
Good old Jet.
Wow.
Okay, so that that fight is pure luck. Basically, in order to get the fastest kill on Jet, you want to bait him into doing a dive kick, and then after he does a dive kick, he floats near the ground for a while, and you can combo him. But after he does the dive kick, his position where he floats on the ground is completely random, so sometimes you can just get like completely screwed by it and not be able to hit him at all, but I got lucky there.
So just how good of a fight was that then?
That's pretty much the best Jet fight you can get. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else can tell, but this room has tons of slowdown on the Genesis. If you play on emulated versions of this game, like on the Wii or the PS3, there's not much slowdown, but on this room slows down so bad because of the arcade machines. And I don't have so much of a problem with just slowdown, but it eats your inputs sometimes, and that's where it gets really annoying.
So the slides that he's doing all the time are pretty straightforward. You just have to double tap forward and hit attack to do them.
Yeah.
But if you're already doing a slide, you can just kind of mash on it, and it makes it a lot easier than trying to time it.
Yeah, after you do the first slide, you can just literally mash forward and B over and over again and just keep doing it. Okay, so this is classic Streets of Rage 2 RNG where enemies just hide off the screen and like won't let you hit them for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, they don't want anything to do with it.
They're pretty much invulnerable when off screen, aren't they? Like if they're off screen enough.
Yeah, if they're so far off screen, you can't touch them.
But they can still touch you.
Very much. So one thing that he did there is Max's atomic drop, is it called? I
Yeah.
always forget the actual name of the move. But anyway, when you grab an enemy from the rear and then you do a jumping throw with Max, he does that move. And it actually has a collision box that it can hit other enemies around him. So
Yeah, for the same exact damage too.
That's
Yeah.
that's like the drop one, not the throw, right?
Right.
And you can actually grab enemies if you land on them again. Can you like chain it?
if you position it well, you can chain it, especially
Yeah.
if there's a wall around for that one. But yeah, it's a great way to do a huge amount of damage if you get good positioning from medium health enemies like ninjas.
We have a $39.74 donation from 102K Get. This is my third GDQ. Thanks for showing all these great games.
So Max controls a gigantic amount of space when he has the sword. As most people who have played this know, he has the very unique advantage of swinging it behind himself before forward. along
Yeah,
with the
and
button.
the backswing is actually, the hitbox appears sooner than the forward swing, so if you want to like hit somebody quickly, the backswing is actually faster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That
That
mini
was
boss
unreal.
is pretty special normally, but the sword for Max does so much damage that it just kind of does that.
Yeah, you kill him in 3
Shout out
hits.
to Blanca.
So, bosses in this game have invincibility upon standing after you knock them down.
Wow.
And you can exhaust it by baiting them to do stuff. So if you jump away from Zamza after you knock him down, he'll jump to do an uppercut at you, and that exhausts his invincibility, so you can just grab him after he does that.
We have a $10 donation from 8 Bits at a Time. Streets of Rage was one of my favorite games when I was young. Thank you for running it. We have a $20 donation from Mormon Freeman. Y'all are amazing. Probably my first donation of several. Thanks for the epic runs and equally epic archiving.
That was amazing.
So this area is a pretty good example of where it's just complete improv. The enemies, there's too many enemies spawning.
Yeah, you can't really catch up with enemy spawns here. You just have to improvise it.
Yeah, and so you have to pay good attention to where they're going, and getting a triple backbreaker like that is not super common.
Doing work. Just doing work right now.
So I took like way too long to kill the regular punks there because they spawned like and went to weird positions. Usually I can kill them instantly and then deal with the fat guy, but they like lingered for a while there, so that was pretty slow.
Also, kind of like that other room where you did the dash out, ending in the middle is way faster because you don't have to watch Max walk towards the middle and then wait for this thing to drop.
It actually, it's like, it doesn't do anything.
Oh.
Yeah, because even if you're like in the middle when the scene transition starts, it still takes just as many frames for the elevator to start moving.
It really, I don't think it can be overstated too much with how much trouble it is to let too many enemies on screen at once, but like Galedog's crowd control is just so good that you're never getting an opportunity to see how bad things can get.
As someone who attempted this on the PS3, I can safely say that that is a true fact. Like, especially at this part of the run, you can really see just getting overwhelmed in general on two sides is just a bad time.
Yeah. The elevators are also a really great example of using all of Max's different throws to their best use. A lot of them position
When scene transitions start, the borders at the side of the screen disappear, so you can like jump out of them.
This is another unique advantage that Max has for this boss, isn't it?
That
He's the
grapple
only guy who
attack.
can grapple with this guy.
Yeah. Is that RNG or is that random? Like the amount of damage it does every? Yeah, no. Honestly, that. when Max does a grapple, is that like guaranteed damage on every hit, or
Yeah,
is it,
yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, if you stand at a certain spot, it baits Abby to jump at you, and you can like move out of the way and wait for him to jump, and then move up and grab him again. But he's like randomly passive and doesn't like to do it sometimes. So if I have enough health for it, I just eat the damage and just stand there and let him hit me and then grab him.
Loops, dude.
and he's an important boss to know different strategies for because he's, I believe, the only enemy in the entire game that can attack out of hit stun.
Right, yeah. Well,
So-
besides Shiva. Shiva can too.
Well, Shiva cheats and everything. So.
Yeah, Shiva actually literally cheats. Like, he has magical invincibility frames that get extended past what they're supposed to be. Like, after you knock Shiva down, he's supposed to be invincible for like 26 frames, and it can randomly extend to over 30 and just ruin everything.
We have a $10 donation from Escalated Quickly. Good morning from Sweden. This is my third GDQ. Thank you for such a great event for a great cause. You inspired me to start running myself. Now let's beat cancer and make VVVVVV happen on the way.
The one thing that happens in this game is they make you refight a lot of the bosses, but during the refights, their invincibility works differently. So for a vast majority of them, you can stand on top of them and just throw them in the first frame that they stand.
Yeah, every boss clone except Zamza clones don't have invincibility after you knock them down, so you can just walk over them and grab them repeatedly.
We have a $25 donation from Matt E. Allen. Hey everybody at AGDQ, Matt here, and I wanted to start donating money to a great cause. Streets of Rage 2 is, I believe, the first game I ever beat as a kid. It also has one of my favorite soundtracks. Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
Okay, so normally this yellow ninja down here, I like sword him as soon as he spawns, but I was like 1 pixel too low, and he just got away with it.
So there's a nice little trick that you can do in this game that Galedog just did, where anytime you're tossed by an enemy, you can hold up and jump, and the game just lets you land on your feet instead of getting hit by the throw.
Yeah, and you're invincible for a few seconds every time you're knocked down. And even if you recover from the throw, like Murph just explained, you're also invincible for a few seconds afterwards. So in 2-player, you can use that to your advantage a lot. Like for example, this boss, you can throw your partner to R-Bear and you're invincible for a few seconds, and you can just walk up to him and grab him.
So R-Bear's a rather nasty boss until you kind of use that. Max is really good at swinging a sword.
And R-Bear likes to get stuck on the wall because he's like trying to walk backwards right now, and he just walks into the wall infinitely, so you can sword him over and over again.
Like Cloud, he's got that one-arm strength.
It really trivializes what is a very awkward fight otherwise.
Can I get a lowdown on what I just witnessed there?
Down into the bottom of the
Yeah, spawn
okay.
points. Basically, you saw spawn
It's like
points.
Max is moonwalking on the spot and grabbing enemies.
Yeah, it's useful to be able to, you can just, like, when you're at the edge of the screen, you can hold up or down, and you'll be walking, but you'll be walking into a barrier. So if you know that an enemy's going to spawn,
Because you do need
Yeah.
to walk into the enemy to grab it,
at
right?
least
Right.
1 pixel, yeah. So one thing you'll notice during this part is that he's using a lot of different throws depending on exactly what's around him and what's going on. Max has a lot of versatility in that what you do, or which specific throw you do will position enemies differently and give you a lot of different vulnerability frames to work with.
Yeah, Axel's known as like the cheap character of this game, but Max is really like way more abusable because he has so many different moves that give him invincibility frames and move him in different directions. So like right there with those ninjas and signals, the Mohawk dudes, I was like grabbing the ninjas as soon as they spawned and then jumping backwards for a slam, which put the signals in front of me. And I'm invincible during most of that, so after I throw the guy, I can just forward special everybody into the wall.
Just casually walking through all these motorcycles.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
And am I right in assuming that Axel's cheat is largely just centered around the Grand Upper?
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
it's called
90.
Grand Upper. I heard Restapow every time.
Right there, I actually jumped in time to dodge her whip, but I had storage, which is this thing that causes you to have laggy jumps. Basically, certain moves give you storage. Like if you punch an enemy, it like stores frames from you punching them, so the next time you try to jump, the game doesn't know what to do and you freeze for a second. So I jumped to like dodge her whip, but I had storage, so my jump took longer than usual and I got shocked by her. Also, this boss is by far the worst part of the game because of how random it is. The jet is either ridiculously passive or super aggressive and like does tons of damage to you.
Whoa! Yo! Oh, man.
So this time he was nice to me and he was really fast.
That was unreal. Like, I don't know if if you haven't played Streets of Rage 2, like the amount of crowd control going on in general, like throughout this whole run, is just off the charts.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
And especially in going for time, and this is somewhat true with any beat 'em up, but just knowing where things are and all the subtleties to the game is really tricky.
Yeah.
I tried to pick this game up a little bit more for time attacking, just to be better prepared for this commentary. And I think I got within like 10 minutes of the time that Galedog has, so
Please don't tell me you were actually aiming for that.
Yeah, as far as like the route for this game, it's kind of an oxymoron because of how random it is that you have to improvise constantly. But if you just try to improvise and run this game, you like can't get anywhere. You have to both understand where spawn points are and exploit them as much as possible and know how to improvise. Because you basically have your enemies that you can improvise on every run, and then you have crazy guys that you don't have any control over their spawns, and you just have to react to what they're doing.
So it's more about just being prepared for everything that could go wrong.
Right.
We have a $10 donation from Shinsen. Shout out to the Galedog for showing me just how broken Max is in Streets of Rage 2. My childhood has been broken. Thanks, man.
I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but Signals, the guys with the mohawks, they always chase you if your back is turned to them, so you can exploit that if you want to kill them quickly.
Yeah, that's something fairly endemic of Streets of Rage 2 in general, is that each individual enemy has some odd AI quirk. Like, for instance, Donovan's like to uppercut you if you jump as much as possible.
Yeah.
And on normal, it's not quite as apparent because they have some tendency to not do it, but on harder difficulties, they try and follow their pre-scripted thing they want to do a lot.
Yeah, and on normal, as you progress through the levels, enemies get like a tad bit more aggressive, and that's actually, it makes the later levels easier. The first level, enemies are so passive that they can waste so much time that it kills runs, and then when you get to like level 5, they're a lot more aggressive, and it's actually a relief because you know how they're gonna act.
Does the backswing and the forward swing do the same amount of damage?
Yeah.
There's actually a fun trick you can do with this knife guy. If you can get him to pull out enough knives and leave them on the ground during this fight, the boss coming up will get really, really confused. From what I can tell, it amounts to the boss's attacks mostly count as objects or weapons, so when it attempts to attack you, it just doesn't understand.
It does nothing, yeah. If there's, I think, 5 weapons on the ground, these robots can't hit you, which is useful for Mania mode, but here, like, it doesn't really matter because they're so easy.
I can handle this! Explodes.
Yeah, when the robots don't have much health left, they self-destruct to try to hurt you.
It's a pretty good plan when there's one left in the door.
We have a $25 donation from Anthony A. Awesome cause. Really loving the Genesis pick so far. Game on.
That was a sick loop.
That's just exploiting him every time he becomes vulnerable as quick as possible.
It's a good example of, this is boss refights.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of them.
This is pretty much just a boss rush now.
Yeah.
I think Jet's the only thing that doesn't reappear here. But again, since all the refights,
Oh
they
my
kind of,
God.
Get him!
they kind of didn't give them their invincibility frames,
Wow.
so there's some strange loops on most of them.
Yeah, Zamza, like I said, I think earlier, Zamza clones are the only bosses that keep their invincibility, so you still have to do this jump loop to exhaust their invincibility and then grab them.
Just dodging those uppercuts.
And one subtle thing is that when he's doing these loops, he's using the suplex instead of the atomic backbreaker, and that's just because the suplex leaves them. It does a very similar amount of damage, and it puts them in a vulnerable state earlier.
Yeah. Like, the animation is a tiny bit shorter than the atomic drop. It does a little bit less damage, but it's faster.
Oops. That's my favorite GIF, by the way.
The real question is, will that work on sheep?
Nothing works on you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everything works and nothing works. Yeah, this is a really reliable way to fight them. Sometimes you can do that and have extra invincibility frames, but
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, it takes an extra repetition.
We're getting ready on time pretty soon.
Yeah, in about a minute or so. So here, you basically just want to keep knocking Mr. X off screen and then wait by his shooting position and hit him with everything you've got as soon as he shows up.
Dude, that remaining health.
Oh, I thought I had enough left for a special. I wasn't paying attention that well. Time in just a couple seconds. Because you actually still have control of max.
Sort of.
Time. Okay, that's pretty good time.
Nice.
Nice one.
Gale's so good he had bonus lives, and it was still at 9 when he died.
Yeah, the game keeps track of them past 9. It just doesn't
Let you
show
know.
that.
Yeah. Is there anything we failed to talk about during the run?
Like, on Mr. X, like, when I died there, I was, like, trying to do a special over his body while he was down, which leaves me invincible as he stands up, which is when he's invincible. So we're, like, invincible at the same time, and
Together.
then his invincibility exhausts itself, and I can grab him, but I didn't have enough health left to do it, so I got hit and
I
died.
mean, I guess extreme side note, because you would never see it. Like when you respawn, all the enemies do like a drop thing. I don't know. They don't take damage, right? They just all.
Yeah, they don't take damage, they just drop.
And I thought you were just going for a swag strat. I thought you were just trying to finish the fight on minimal health.
Oh,
Yo,
no.
look how beefy Max is. Look at that. He's ripped.
That's something.
All right, you did the thing. Good
Yeah.
job, Gale. You're a champion.
Thank you very much, Galedog. All right, coming up next, we have a crazy taxi run. So you're definitely gonna want to stick around for some of that craziness. But before that, while we're setting up the next console, we're gonna run a quick commercial. I don't know anything. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2015. Awesome Games Done Quick is a Games Done Quick event held every year in January featuring members of the Speed Demos Archive and Speedruns Live communities. SDA proudly hosts speedruns of over 1,000 games with forums containing speedrunning planning and marathon discussions. SDA welcomes gamers old and new alike You can follow them on Twitter at Speedrun, SDA Speedruns, and visit their website at speeddemosarchive.com. To mention a few of our sponsors for this event, we have a ton of them. One of our sponsors is The Yeti. The Yeti is a t-shirt site featuring an awesome new design every 24 hours for a low price. The Yeti has partnered with us for AGDQ 2015, offering an array of shirts with $3 from every unit sold going to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Check out the collection at The Yeti, that's THEYETEE.com/gamesdonequick.